Hi everybody, and welcome to Uncorked and On Tap, the Traveler's Edition. We are so happy to be back and to share our wonderful trip to Italy, no? Yeah? Right?
Sure.
We went to one of the most beautiful destinations on the entire planet, the Dolomites. Let's talk about what's going to be on this episode.
How to plan it, how to get there, where we stayed, what we did while we were there, what we would do differently.
I got to think. Okay?
I got a few things. And then we're going to sprinkle some tips along the way.
Little tips and tricks. We really appreciate the support you gave us on the Jamaica video we did. Much love to all of you. But right now it's time for us to get a little, you know what I'm going to say. Italiano. All right, guys. Well, the first thing I guess you're wondering about is how we picked this particular destination and how we put together all the logistics. Jen, you do all the major work here. How did we decide to go here?
How did we? Actually,
go on.
We decided that we wanted to go there when we were traveling in Italy, and someone said, "Oh, I always go to the Dolomites in the summer because it's so cool in the mountains." And we were like, "Cool in the mountains, you say?"
It's lovely up here in the mountains. Nice and cool.
Fascinating. So we did a little research, and I realized how absolutely gorgeous it was, and we love to hike. So I saw what...
We love to hike. Okay, well, that's wonderful and great, but how did we choose Ortissi of all the places? I'm sure there's got to be a lot of towns in that area full of, like, you know, great, delicious Italian food, probably Italian people, Italian villages. Why this one in particular called your name? Called our name.
Our name. This one in particular called my name or our name because I wanted something that would be centrally located, that we could walk around and just jump on the cable cars to do all the hiking that I wanted to do. And this seemed like the best option if you weren't in a car because you could just easily walk into town, walk to the lifts. It was very accessible once we got there.
This is not the easiest destination to get to. So how did you put together that plan to get us from point A to point beautiful mountains?
I looked at the closest airport that made sense for us to get to, which was Bologna, which we have a special love for that city. We spent some time in that city a few years ago and we absolutely loved it. So I was excited to go back through there, although we only had a very short amount of time there. We flew into Bologna. From there, we took the monorail from the airport to the train station. Super easy, just followed the signs. And then jumped on the train in Bologna and took that train to Bolzano. And then I used our hotel to book a transfer. So they set up a transfer for us. We walked outside of the Bolzano train station. Guy was right there waiting for us.
Yes.
Whisked us away. And
little sign like the old Bud Light commercials, remember?
Yeah.
Mr. Lee.
He didn't have a sign.
He didn't have a sign?
No, nobody had a sign.
Oh, he could have been some rando. We could have been kidnapped.
No, because he told me what he looked like and I told him what I looked like.
Oh, okay.
And then we saw each other and waved and he knew it was us.
Okay, that sounds different than transfer. Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, he transferred us. It was like a 35-minute drive.
He transferred us.
We got there.
Yeah.
Safe and sound.
Safe and sound.
No weird issues.
No weird issues.
That he is alluding to.
Beautiful drive. Little tight on the turn sometimes here and there.
I mean, you're in the mountains.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful drive. Holy, it's spectacular.
It was like $100.
Yeah. For what, the whole ride?
The whole ride?
No kidding.
It was. So then we got there.
Yep.
And then we were in walking distance of anything that we wanted to do.
Yes.
So we were like, but depending on which lift we wanted to go on, we were like 5 to 10 minutes. And then in terms of getting into the town and walking around down there and eating, it was again like a 7-minute walk, super centrally located. Obviously everybody knows summertime travel, or if you don't know, summertime travel in Italy is insane. And we didn't book it with a ton of time to spare. So it was a little bit difficult, but this hotel, I mean, considering the location and the price point was great. It was about $200 a night, which was remarkable. And breakfast included, super friendly service. It was a husband and wife that were right on property. They did like a happy hour some nights and like little bites and stuff. It was a great little spot. Very clean, simple.
Yeah, everything you needed.
Perfect location.
Perfect location. The views out the windows were insane. But that town is so beautiful that
There's
most
no
places
views.
where you, even though if you have like a balcony or if you have a window, you pretty much are going to get a beautiful view.
There's no bad views.
No bad views. Let's talk about highlight. The first highlight, the main highlight, the highlight of all highlights.
The highlight of all highlights. The Seceda. It's magical. Like, I cried a little when we got up there.
Yeah, me too.
I'm
not even kidding around.
No, it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So you have to, in the same theme, it takes a little to get up there. You have to do 2 different cable cars, but it's all pretty simple. You just follow along.
Cable cars are in town. You walk down. I mean, there are signs that are in English.
Yes.
So it's not that hard to find.
And your
Tourist
hotel.
town. Yeah,
your hotel can point you in the right direction too.
Yeah.
And all the signs were in all different languages. So very easy. And you just bought your ticket. I want to say it was pretty expensive. It was like a $50 ticket. Well, you could go up halfway and then walk. You could walk the whole way. Listen, if you were the person who's walking the whole way, more power to you.
Oh, if you're walking up the whole way?
Yeah, people do that.
Hello, David Goggins.
We were not walking up the whole way. We weren't taking one cable car. We were taking both.
Yes.
We were starting right up at the top.
All the way at the top.
Right. So we took our 2 cable cars, and then we got up there, and you get let off on the top of the mountain, and it is
Breathtaking.
breathtaking. It's spectacular. It was. Yeah.
It really, the destination overtakes you because you kind of look at it. You have a different perspective. You have a different perspective of the world because you see something so beautiful that you've never seen in your life before. And it's everything. That destination to me is everything that travel is about. It kind of opens your world to just different existences that you weren't even aware of.
Definitely.
You know?
Agreed.
So, all right. Once you get up there, there's a couple of different ways to go and a couple of different paths that you could take. So the first thing we did is we were hiking up which way?
We hiked straight up to the most iconic ridge that you'll see if you Google Seceda.
Yeah.
It's the ridge that everybody is walking up. And it was actually really easy. You're walking up, so I'm not saying it's just a walk in the park, but it's a full path. You know, as being hikers here, sometimes you're just hiking in dirt and not a path, and you're trying to figure out where you have to go. This isn't that. It's a clear cut line that you're following along the path.
And we saw lots of people, older people, younger kids.
People with little children.
Yeah. So it was really welcome for everybody. Strollers, for sure. So it was beautiful, and it was
accessible.
Hopefully you'll be looking at this video now and seeing how beautiful it was and really how accessible it really is for everybody. Before we move on, if you're like me, guys, when you see and you look out at the video that you're looking at, are you not thinking to yourself, how is the grass perfectly manicured? What's happening? Nothing.
No overgrown patches. This is things only husbands think of, I think.
It was the most perfect lawn I've ever seen. Luckily for me, as I'm having this conversation with Jenn and she's walking really far ahead of me, probably trying to get away from the conversation, what do I run into? But the answer to all my questions. So gentlemen, here is how they mow this lawn. I'm sure this is an everyday process forever. Their kids, their grandkids, their grandkids will be doing this. This is a job that will last a long time, as long as we are here. Anyway, back to what everybody else wants to know. I'm sure Lawn Talk is over. Lawn Talk, sponsored to you by Lawn People. Enough lawn talk. But we've done some hiking, and we're tired. We're all tired, man.
About 4 hours.
It's time to eat.
It's time to eat.
And
we only had breakfast 3 hours earlier.
I know, but I had to hike.
I know.
Fellas, come on.
It's a lot.
Anyway, we hiked up. We do that. We see that. I'm hungry. You, the hero of my world,
made a reservation.
Not at just a general place. You made a reservation at the place. Sofie's.
I made it online. Maybe like 3 weeks earlier.
Okay.
I made it for $12.15, which was a great sweet spot because plenty of time to walk around in the morning and then get hungry and be ready for a drink.
I was ready.
You were ready. And the location, now in this area, as you're going down the mountain, because you start at the top, if you take the cable cars, both cable cars, you're at the top. So now as you're going down, there's a bunch of little places, they call them huts, to grab drinks and grab snacks, but Sofie's is amazing because it's right at the top.
Yeah, it's probably the biggest one too. It's like the
it's-
main restaurant there.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. And the views are just absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah. It's,
You can't even believe you're eating up there. And then once we're done with that lunch, then we make our way down the mountain. So you can obviously just get back on the cable car and ride back down.
yep.
You can ride the cable car halfway into a little town.
Yes.
And then take a bus back to your hotel.
Santa Ana? Was that the
Santa
town?
Cristina.
Santa
which would have been
Cristina.
super fun. And that was the plan.
That was the plan. Well, we walked down a little bit and we made it to this first hut, which was great. You know, and I have to be honest with you, when they were like huts, like 2 miles down, when you start walking, it kind of gives you distance to huts. So I thought these are places where I'm just gonna use the facilities. It said hut. What am I thinking here? I'm thinking a hut. I'm not thinking this beautiful restaurant with outdoor seating. You know, this thing that looks like a German beer garden inside. Just
Spritzes everywhere.
spritzes
Aperol
as
everywhere.
far as the eye could see, if I only knew. So we hit one, and then things went a little south. Here's how we had an adventure of a lifetime. So, you know, Jen does all the planning. I do all the showing up, right?
And asking what the plan is.
And that's what the plan is. I mean, some folks use that strategy too out there. I'm one of those. I didn't do much research, and we were hiking, and so Jen says after we hit the first hut, which way would you like to go? Now, one way is into this beautiful town called San Cristina, and that was one way to go. The other way to go was to go back to the town where we took the cable cars, right?
Yes, you saw the sign
Yes,
for the town we were staying in.
Yeah.
And you were like, we should just walk back there.
And I'm like, oh my God, the coming up was so spectacular. You know, if it's a sign, I'm assuming that it's doable for, you know, people. So Jen probably thought otherwise, but decided to go along with my plan, which is always a mistake. And we decided now that we were gonna go ahead and walk down. Now, a couple of things. I think we just have some pictures because at this point, all video, if I would have taken out a camera, it would have gotten lost in one of my orifices for sure.
Your orifices.
Orifices. That's right. Anyway, so here's what happens. As we're walking down, not only do people disappear, but also now the path starts getting like, are we on a path? Or are we
rockier.
now just in the middle of the forest?
Yeah.
So now we're walking in the middle of the forest, and now look, for those of you that don't know, I am not a country boy. I've grown up in the city all my life. I don't know a lot of, everything I've learned about the outdoors, I've learned through such experts as
Bear Grylls.
Bear
or
Grylls,
whatever.
Naked and Afraid.
Naked and Afraid.
Naked and Afraid. This is where I learned
Survivor.
things. Survivor, for sure.
Thank you.
The Trump has spoken.
I love
And
you,
there's at one point I
Jeff
thought
Probst.
that one of us would have to eat the other person to survive. Anyway, as we're going down now, I'm not hearing anything. But now all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we're literally in the middle of a forest where the path, you don't even know it's a path, okay? I hear behind us sticks break, right? Like, you know, like you hear like something stepping, like a stick break. I mean, at least horror movie wise, for sure, right? Okay, so now I don't want to freak her out. So I didn't want to go like, hey, can you go a little bit faster? Because I just heard something, right? Because she's already, you know, worried. Furious, worried, all those things. So instead of saying that, I thought it'd be a better idea if I just said, hey, do you think you could go a little faster?
Do you think you could pick up the pace?
Do you think you could pick up the pace?
I'm going straight down, an aggressive decline. My toes are squished into my shoes because I've been like this for so long, and I'm trying not to fall.
Ow! Oh!
And I'm going as fast as I possibly can without tumbling down a mountain.
But can we agree you were going a little slow?
It's amazing you're still alive.
I know.
Honestly. It really is.
All right, anyway, so she, at that point, was not happy with me at all. And I had to then explain to her what, why I said it that way. Because as soon as it came out of my mouth, fellas, I knew it was going to be a problem. Anyway, yeah, it was a problem. Okay. Now, it was a problem for me until we walked a little further, and then we started seeing people, which was another couple. And I was like, oh my God, thank God, my idea, I am not the only idiot.
He kept telling me, look, there's other people. This is a real path. There's other people.
Other people matter.
That was a win for me. For me, that was 100% a win. Okay, so now we're getting close to them and we're walking side by side. They're younger. They're probably in their mid to late 20s.
Sure.
Right, and they're walking and they're Italian. Not don't speak any English at all. And then all of a sudden, I notice that she's limping very badly. And then I noticed as we passed them that she's crying because she must have fallen and twisted her ankle. So we ended up stopping and they somehow got ahead of us again, right? It was like I was trying to look at Google Maps or whatever because I see this girl crying. I'm like, oh my God, we're all gonna die. We're all gonna die.
Yeah.
So looks like we were going the right way. We go by, and as we're walking by, they're now sitting down, and me and this dude, can I just say, this guy, he's got the whole Italian look. He's got the ponytail, he's got the long hair, he's got the whole macho build, the tattoo arm, the whole thing. And then me and him, we looked at each other, like eye to eye, we looked at each other, and we were like, fuck, bro, we messed up. As we continue to walk down, now, obviously, I'm getting even more worried and Jenn is getting even more furious. You're thinking, how far down is this road? It was so far down. At one point, I swear to God, I thought we were not going to make it. Now, another funny part, you love this one, right? Another funny part was as we were walking down, there was like this kind of like hairpin turn. And right in the middle of that hairpin turn, I think we have one picture, is a bunch of cows and a bull. For sure, right? So Jenn's like, we're going to walk right through it. And I say, of course, no, we're not, because we could just go down this little hill here and avoid them. Okay?
So it was a path. The path was like a hairpin turn, as he said. So it's like, like this.
Full of cows, and I'm pretty sure a bull.
Versus
not
just
100%,
a straight down.
Pretty much.
Just nothing to grab onto.
The cows were on the path. You can't walk behind a cow. It might kick you. It might, I don't know, they might poop on you. I was like on a farm once.
Honestly, I felt like I'd already been pooped on at this point.
Wow.
Would not have
uncalled for. You still holding on to this, huh? All right, anyway, so then we had to go down, and you know what was great? As we're going down, right, I went first to show like you could do it, and then she's going, and she's making it, so I'm like, all right, in my head, I'm like, be a good husband. Be a good husband. You cheer her on. You give her some motivation. You give her a little bit of that, that kind of like, let's go get him. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, you got this. You got this. It's great. You got this. And she turned around and said to me,
shut the fuck up.
That's right. So as you can see, we're in a really good place. Anyway.
Marriage.
Marriage is what brings us together today.
We walked down, I would say, about 2.5 hours.
At least.
At least.
A lot of that contemplating divorce, murder.
It was not an easy path. We burned so bad. It was unbelievable. And somehow, like a miracle, eventually we came upon this amazing restaurant. And then we sat down and we had
a little snack, had dessert, and we had spritzes, which at that point was really all that I wanted.
We had no water. I thought I was going to die. We ran out of water.
We ran out of water. You would think that people who burn all the time would wear sunblock, but not this guy. He's like, bring it on, son. Just give me what you got. So he was burned.
Did not work out for me.
I was angry. Thank God for this. I'm not even going to say it was a hut because now we were pretty far down. So it was
a restaurant.
A full-on restaurant, and it was an oasis. It was magic. And it gave us the strength we needed to walk the remaining 45 minutes down to our hotel.
Yes.
If you are up at the top and you do want to walk down,
don't.
Go down to San Cristina.
Oh, yeah.
Have some drinks along the way and some bites at the huts. Do that.
When we go back.
When we go back.
God willing.
I am not going that other way. I am going straight down, and I'm going to enjoy
Same.
all the huts on the way.
Me too.
And then go into that little town.
You know what I'm going to get?
What?
So we'll get spritz faced. Cheers. All right, so that pretty much was the highlights and the
Low lights.
yes, there was a. All right, I mean, look. Here's the thing. Was it tough in the moment? Yes. Did she like look up Google divorce lawyers probably in the hike? For sure.
Is it a divorce?
Yeah, it's a divorce. So start packing up because you're moving out.
Okay, but now we have the story that we've told to all our friends and now to all of our online friends. Thank you for, by the way, to all the subscribers. If you like what you're seeing now, please subscribe, hit the notification key. It's a great way to support our silliness. Yeah, with absolutely no cost to you. Plug. I got a plug. For me, the second highlight was for sure when we went up to the mountain called
Alpe de Souissi.
Alpe de Souissi. All right, Alpe de Souissi. It was gorgeous.
It was gorgeous. It was, again, another like 5 to 10 minute walk from our hotel. And we jumped on another cable car and like a 5-minute ride up. And we were at the top of another beautiful mountain range.
Yeah.
Where we could walk around, hike.
The mountain range was also unbelievably beautiful.
It was.
It was gorgeous. You kind of get the view of the other mountain from this mountain. And so it's spectacular in a completely different way. I mean, if you had to do one or the other, you would say...
If I didn't have enough time and I could only do one, I would definitely just do Seceda.
Right.
That was everything. But this would be the next best thing.
What's the name of this one again?
Alpe de Souissi.
Alpe de Souissi. One of my highlights was when we went to eat, of course.
Another hut.
Another hut.
At the top.
Another hut.
Well, not at the top, like kind of in the middle.
In
Maybe
the
we
middle.
walked
There was
about an hour
two.
or so.
There was two, right? Because
Yeah.
we passed by one.
Yeah.
And then we went to the one that was kind of on in like the section on top. And that was amazing. Another, of course, schnitzel for yours truly.
Schnitzel everywhere.
But the highlight, what I'm about to show you, is something on the menu that's called whatever that menu just said. And it is a mix of Coca-Cola and beer.
That's so weird.
And here's how that goes.
All right, my friends, this is interesting here. We have Coca-Cola and this German beer, and this is the way they sell it here. So let's see what the pour looks like. Let's get a close-up of that. All your beer professionals, do not mock my pour, please. Thank you. And let's start. There you have it. Now the taste. That should not be this good. That's ridiculous.
It looks like you really enjoyed that.
I did enjoy it.
Sugar rush.
But it was delicious. It tasted like a beer, like, I don't know, like frosty. Like
beer
a DQ. Yeah, beer frosty from DQ.
Beer frosty.
Damn, that's exactly what it
If
tasted
DQ
like.
starts selling alcohol, I highly recommend the move in this direction.
1000%
Beer
what it was.
frosty.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't
Give us the
nice,
credit.
but it was just delicious. You made friends with a donkey.
I did make a donkey friend.
Everywhere you go, there's a jackass you meet.
I mean,
Wow. Okay, so like every trip, there are going to be things that are just not going to go right, or there's going to be things you wish you did a little different. Do we have any of those?
always.
Yeah, we do. All right, what you got?
All right, my first one is I would have stayed in the city that we came through longer, Bologna. It's one of my favorite places. The city isn't as magical as some of the other places in Italy, but it's a really cool place. There's a lot of good restaurants, cool hotels, shops, and it's got some of the best food in Italy. So
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful place.
I was sad that we didn't get a real meal there. I mean, not to say the train station sandwich wasn't great, it was, but I wish we would have stayed for dinner overnight and then headed up to the Dolomites afterwards.
I agree with you. The only problem with Bologna is that you stay one night, then you're like, there's one other place I want to eat, and you stay 2 nights. And all right, so that's the first thing we would rather have done differently. Kind of agree. Okay, what's the second?
Kind of the same note, I would have done longer in the Dolomites. I would have stayed in the exact same spot that we were in for 7 days.
Nice.
So because they tend to get shorter stays in the summer. A lot of the hotels offer like 10% discounts.
Okay.
If you do 7 days, and it would have made a lot of sense. And honestly, it's a place you want to get there, you want to do all the things you want to do, but you also just want to relax and sit down and enjoy the view and enjoy the food. And it's special enough that you want to spend some time there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with you. I don't think you really get a good flavor for the area that you're in, or, you know, kind of get it or understand it until you stay there for at least 4 or 5 nights, at least. I agree with you on that one too. Look at that, 2 for 2.
Nice.
Is there another one?
One more.
One more.
I would have bought the 3 or 5 or full summer pass.
Well, full summer, we're moving, people.
That's it. No, they have this lift pass, and it seems a little expensive at first, but then when you look at it over how many things that you can do, it's like 140 lifts available to you.
Oh, wow.
So we were just focused on 2 mountains, the ones we already talked about, but there were so many other places that we could have gone to that we didn't, and I would stay longer, and then I would utilize that.
All right, well, we've made it all the way to the end, and I think one of the most popular sections that we have in the end is just the tips.
Just the tips. Interesting.
Why should you wait until the end to just get the tips? Shouldn't you get just the tips up front? Maybe we should rethink this whole thing.
Maybe we should.
Should give the tips up front.
Tips up front. What do you get in the end then?
The deep stuff.
All the deep stuff. All right. What's the first tip of that you got there?
The first tip is use your hotel. So if they have a concierge or you're just working with the local owner, it's so much easier to just go to them instead of doing an incredible amount of research on how to find a transfer company or what train to take. Use your hotel as a resource. It'll be a lifesaver.
Well, there you go. So tip number 1, use your hotel as a resource. It will be a lifesaver. That's what you said.
That's what I said.
All right. Well, thank you. That's all the tips that we have for you, right?
What?
No?
We have more tips.
We have 2 tips?
I'm not done with tips.
Oh, I didn't realize 2 tips. Okay, go ahead.
Second tip.
Second tip.
Make dinner reservations. I think sometimes we're used to just like walking around figuring out where to eat. You're going to Italy. You're going to Europe in the summer. Don't do that. It's a mistake. You got to go. You got to figure out where you want to eat. If you don't want to call yourself and make the reservations, back to point 1. Use your hotel. Ask them to make the reservations for you. Or you can do it yourself. All
right. Well, there you go. Make dinner reservations. Lean on your hotel. Thank you so much. We're done with the tips.
Just a couple more tips.
Couple more tips. Jeez, how many tips can this
is
how many tips do we have?
We have so many tips.
So many tips. Okay, well, what's the third tip?
If you can, pay cash for things like taxis, transfers. You save a pretty decent amount of money. Keep euros on you. So if you can pay cash, do it.
All right, so that's 3 tips. From the sound of things, we got 4 tips. Are we a 4-tip podcast?
We are a 4-tip.
We are a 4-tip podcast tonight. Tomorrow, God knows. All right, what do we got?
Last one. This is more of a fashion one, but you're up in the mountains. You're thinking though, okay, I get it. Everybody's hiking during the day, but I want to get dressed up at night. I want to put on my high heels and a dress.
I was looking pretty hot.
Don't do it. First of all, it gets pretty cold at night, but more importantly, nobody is wearing high heels. It's not a thing there.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't break out any of my heels while we were there.
I know, and you must have been sad.
Devastated. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. 4 tips, right?
4 tips.
4-tip max.
It's a 4-tip night.
It's a 4-tip night indeed. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for watching our channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Give this episode a like if you liked it. If you didn't like it, give us a like anyway. Come on. Look at us. We're funny. A little bit, maybe. Okay, please. Anyway, also hit the notification bell so they can remind you when we have an episode. And we really, really appreciate this. This is a great way to support us and to support this channel so we're able to bring you more content at absolutely 0 cost to you. Thank you so much.
But wait, tell us where you want us to go next.
Yes, tell us where you want us to go next, and we'll try to get there. And we will see you soon on Uncorked On Tap, the Traveler's Edition.
Cheers.